Taurus, hello, and welcome to your April 2020 General Tarot Forecast. My name is Sky. I am an intuitive. I do tarot readings. I do astrology readings. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out this video. If you're new here, I so hope that you guys will hit the subscribe button. And if you're returning, welcome back. Let's talk about your sign of Taurus in the month of April. So your energy's actually been on my mind lately, Taurus. I've been remembering people from my past who are the sign of Taurus, and I've been gaining some new insights onto them and what they did for my own life path. So first thing I want to tell you guys is that people in your life or people that have been, very perhaps important figures in your life, I feel that their perception of you does start to change during this time. And I think that that could be true for everyone because, again, we are in the double one energy. We've restarted in the Chinese astrological system. We're back in the number one energy of the rat. And we're also in Aries season, which is a 1. So everybody's kind of thinking about things in a new way. All of these old status quo feelings that we had or aspects of our lives are gaining a new perception by most of all of us. But I want to really point out, Taurus, that yours seems very obvious, and your part in this feels to be coming through first, perhaps, or maybe second, because you're the second sign of the zodiac. And I've noticed that a lot of the Taurus that I've been speaking to have maybe caught on to this a little bit. Like, so I got a call from my ex, or I got a call from that person, or I remembered that experience and I felt completely different about everything, or I felt much more upset about things than I was before, or I finally let go of that. There is a sense of like finally moving on here, Taurus. That would be so nice for you. 6 of Swords and the Empress coming up. It's like moving on and getting clear and accepting what is coming in is like such a wonderful blessing for you. I think that it's beautiful. But what can be difficult this month is, being attached. You're a fixed sign, so it's quite easy to get attached to a lifestyle or attached to a way of being. And we're all kind of challenged in the month of April to adapt and to let go of old, rigid cycles. Those who are rigid or those who are too fixed are having the hardest time with this social distancing or the quarantines. And, for a lot of us, it's like such a blessing. It's so welcome. Yes, I can finally rest. I can finally, take some time at the drawing board or think about how I want to move into life once more. But I do feel for Taurus that, it's almost even more important for you guys to think about how far you've come and to think about perhaps how much other people around you changed. And that's a weird message. For you, the second sign of the zodiac, with Uranus in your sign, with a lot of other Earth energy this year, it becomes almost outside of you. And this is not the case for everybody, but you might really see the shifts in energy really be represented in somebody outside of you. Or you might really come into this time with sort of just this understanding, like I am completely different than who I used to be. Or you might even look to somebody from your past and think, wow, that person is really different. And I would have you know, Taurus, that most of the people that you might have been involved with, or most of the people that you might have been really connected to in the recent or distant past, it's really interesting to see how you changed them, or really interesting to see some of their paths as well. What do I mean by this? I'm not sure what significance it has. I'm just called to talk about it. It's crazy how much of a catalyst you might have been for some people, or how much effect you might have had on their path. And that's not really your problem, Taurus, but there's something about this time of social distancing and isolation that has this coming up for you, almost as a reminder of how potent you are. Okay, you're on the Taurus-Scorpio axis, the second 8th house axis, which is the axis that deals with life, death, money, power, agenda, the changing tides of life. And Taurus can sometimes not really see that about themselves. Every Scorpio knows it because it's what every stereotype and stigma of Scorpio deals with is all of the sex, death, rebirth, all of that. But Taurus is, sometimes a bit more it's second sign. It's a young sign. It's a youthful sign. So it's about some of the pleasures of life and some of the indulgences. What I would like to introduce, though, to you, Taurus, is have we become a little bit indulgent or involved in pleasure when it comes to how we've changed other people, okay? Or how other people changed us. After I was with that person or after I connected with that person, I was never able to do da 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 da. I was never able to look at myself like da 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 again. Taurus can be a bit like reactionary. There's like a chain of events with the past here. Taurus, it's tedious. There's something tedious about the energy coming up for you this month, and it won't really be tolerated by the universe for you for long. So immediately, let's just go and jump into the week to week because it's coming naturally. Immediately in the first week of April, Six of Swords rooted down by the Empress, the universe is like, okay, changes. Okay, immediate changes. Immediate changes in how we live. It's not that you've done something wrong, Taurus, don't take me wrong, but there's something that was maybe not quite appropriate, and when I say appropriate, I mean something that went against you, something that went against your own code. This could have been a while back, and it's connecting to now, April 2020. So super karmic month for everybody. How we go through this social distancing quarantine time is very much exemplifying how we've been in the past. Okay. So people who aren't super affected by it maybe have been a little bit gray, okay? Maybe have been just a little bit not making huge choices, playing things safe. That's okay. Things are safe now too. People who are having a really, really tough time, maybe acting a little bit crazy over the last few years, maybe acting a little bit problematic. People who are really elevating during this time, like you totally have the potential to do with the Empress, the Fool, Page of Wands. People who are elevating have perhaps been wronged or made really mature decisions. And I want you guys to get on that bandwagon, Taurus. I want you guys to get on this really mature decision bandwagon where you are not phased by how you need to adapt right now. Again, you're a fixed earth sign. It can be a bit rigid. It's hard to maybe change the lifestyle depending on your chart. I would just like to challenge you guys to enjoy this. This doesn't have to be that bad, I see you guys really having the potential to flourish. Yes, perhaps there is a bit less money for some Taurus. Ace of Pentacles is reversed. You've got Knight of Pentacles. You might have to get by on a little bit less right now, but why not? Why let money completely rule over us? It's really not necessary. That's something that Saturn in Aquarius, which I made a video on, I'll link it below. That's something that Saturn in Aquarius is really changing quite immediately, is the value of money. So you're going to see really clearly, Taurus, right, starting in the first week with that transitional time up through the third week of April, that maybe a little too much value was placed on money, or maybe, your breathing, your ability to take a deep breath, or your heart to beat, or your ability to feel desire within is not controlled by your bank balance. That's a nice thing to really see here and now. And immediately, week number 1, you're empowered by understanding that things change in life, okay? That things adapt, things become different. And as some of you guys know, Six of Swords is my home card in the tarot. I am a Six of Swords expert. I won't go too far into it, but you want to not step backwards during this time. You want to let this be a forward-moving thing. No reason to jump back into the past. No reason to look for blame in the past. Let's just move forward here. Six of Swords, and as I was talking about, you might have seen the April 2020 video. That was one of the cards in the Pick a Card spread. And so I talk a lot about it there. That might be good to go back and watch. The universe doesn't respond very well to people who move backwards with Six of Swords. Again, rowing backwards is quite a bit harder. We want to move to shore, and we want to get to the place that we're going. So I want you guys to keep following your goals, and I want you guys to keep connecting to what you've wanted for a long time. Now is not the time to turn back on your goals, or the time to turn back on your desires. That's rooted down by the Empress. So you are getting rewarded by the progression that you're making here. And you are getting rewarded by doing that with love, not trying to bring other people down, not trying to bring other people into, a difficult place. So it's just such a cleansing time. Week number 2, you guys have the Fool rooted down by the Moon. More cleansing, starting a new cleanse, starting a new purification. As I've talked about, having to prepare food for ourselves during social distancing, or having to, do things that we're not accustomed to doing ourselves is very, very purifying to the energy of each individual. So we need to derive power from that instead of downfall. Like, oh my gosh, I can't just go through the drive-through anymore. Oh my gosh, I can't, you know, um, go and listen to all these people in public and, forget about all my problems. That type of thing, it's over for now. Also, with the energy of the moon, it's a great time to get honest with yourself about things too, or to get honest with people who are important to you. Taurus is a very truthful sign. It's a very honest energy. Again, Scorpio-Taurus axis. So whenever Taurus gets involved in lies or deception, it's not typical, but if it happens, it needs to be corrected real quick, because your sign is a sign of honesty, one of them. So, yeah, not important to spend much time there. Might be really good, Taurus, to finally like come out of the closet, for example, or to finally, and not even relating to sexuality necessarily, but like relating to being honest with the people around you. Like, actually, I've always wanted to, run for office, and nobody knew this about you. Actually, I've always wanted to do an album. I've wanted to be on Spotify. I'm going to do an album and I'm going to be on Spotify. And you've always worked at like the bank or something and nobody knew this about you. Great time, second week of April, for Taurus to come out of the closet about something, okay? Week number 3, Taurus, Ace of Pentacles, rooted down by Knight of Pentacles, and the above is reversed. So yeah, there's a money issue. For those of you heavily invested in the stock market, that you're feeling that Taurus is a stock market sign, and yeah, we've had a lot of falls. I wouldn't sell out now. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but as most of you probably know, it's not so great to sell during a dip. It's going to be frightening to see those numbers. I don't want to lie to you. And it may not be stock market for all of you, of course. But for those of you who are afraid of your investments during this time, I wouldn't touch them. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, hence my interrogative tone there. But yeah, it's good to just keep things in place. It's Aries season, not good to really, pull things out, pull things in, despite being in a quarantine. Knight of Pentacles rooting that down says that you might have to live on less than you're used to. And that's okay. It's a great time to live on less, Taurus. Oh my gosh, what an incredible time for everybody to turn off all the recurring subscriptions, to refinance the car or the mortgage, to challenge themselves to spend less at the grocery store, to stop eating out. What a great time to actually save more despite making way less. It's interesting how that happens that way. And that's basically what I feel the third week to be to you, is a refinancing time, setting of a new budget, finding ability to save more despite making less temporarily, and starting to see new sources of income for some of you too. So starting the YouTube channel, or starting, the creative project, or writing the book, or something that you've always wanted to do. How beautiful. How beautiful to get out of these old stories of past blame, deception with other people, disconnecting from people who've been deceptive toward you or who have lied to you, just so you can focus on some of these new creative ideas. I think that's gorgeous. Week number 4, you have 3 of Pentacles rooted down by Page of Wands. It's all up to you, Taurus. Sometimes Taurus can be a super, super teamwork-oriented sign. It can be really like, okay, I need to have this assistant, and I need to have this team and this agent and this manager and this lawyer to make all of this happen. Not now, okay? This is the time of the self-made person, Page of Wands, Aries season, moving into Taurus season. It won't be until Virgo season, for most people, 2020, that we can really get the team going, okay? So enjoy doing these things on your own. Page of Wands is such a creative energy. How much creativity you suddenly get, Taurus, when we get out of the past with things, or we get out of the blame game, great time to get out of those things, just to see that all of that creative energy might have just been going to like, okay, how can I blame this person? Or what can I derive from this old past situation now? And that's true power, Taurus. That's true power, when you can choose or control how much impact something from the past has over you and transmute that into creative power for the future. So that's really what I challenge you to do in the month of April, Taurus, is transmuting old past pain into creativity for the future. And being soft with people too. It's not bad to say I forgive you to somebody, okay? It's not bad to call it quits, to break up, okay? Not bad also to accept that you might never speak to that person perhaps again. All of those things are good, just to make the ending really clear, because again, we're in one of the newest energies. We don't want a lot of resonance from the past decade, past 20 years, past 30 years, past Saturn cycle. Who knows? We want to really get new with things, and we know who needs to be there with that. So anyway, Taurus, enjoy that challenge, transmute all of that old energy into creative new zest. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the extended reading over on Patreon. I will have a central theme and 2 supporting themes there for you guys. It's a super cheap monthly subscription where you can get all of the extended readings, all of the tea chats, all of the exclusive posts over there, early access to YouTube videos just by the $5 a month, or more if you would like to choose more, but it's totally patron based. You can choose how much you pay on Patreon. So if you guys have been considering that for a while, I would so appreciate the support. It's what helps keep this possible. So you can click the center of your screen now to jump over to Patreon, or the link below in the description box, and we will move into the extended reading. Thanks so much for your likes, comments, and subscribes, Taurus. Much love. Bye.